Long before the Auditor General placed MUN under her microscope, there was a student who was constantly raising questions about how Memorial University spends its money. Matt Barter also was the first to shine a spotlight on tens of thousands of dollars the former president spent on renos and redecorating her office. And some of that was highlighted in Monday's Auditor General report. And Matt Barter joins me now in the studio. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
So, Matt, when you first read the Auditor General's report, what did you make of it?
My first reaction was I knew it was going to be bad, but I wasn't expecting it to be really, really bad, which it is.
Were there certain parts that surprised you?
There were some parts in it I've actually published on my website, like the executive search firms, the headhunting firms. Like after each search have taken place, I would publish the amount on my website, and the Auditor General reported the total amount is $1.1 million.
Yeah. So, that's right, because I forgot you had actually posted about the headhunters too and the executive searches. Now, Dr. Neil Bose, who's the president, as you know, since Vianne Timmins left under the circumstances under which she left, he told us yesterday that they're really going to limit the use of those firms, maybe not for the top job, like, for example, who's going to replace him. Does that satisfy some of your concerns about the way they spend?
Well, no, it don't. Because the top job for president not only should is the issue with the headhunting firm, and the the final candidates, they don't have to make a presentation to the MUN community like the other positions do. Even the vice president of Grenfell, the recent search for that was open and they had presentations. And but for the MUN president position, that has not been the case in the past, and unfortunately, it don't look like they're going to change that. And I actually published on my website the amount they spent for for when Vianne Timmins started that search, it was $150,000 to a headhunting firm.
Right. So that's just to find the new president.
Yeah.
But what do you make of the argument, Matt, though, that in terms of universities and really that campus is just behind us here on University Avenue. That's almost like its own city, right? I mean, it's a big economic driver. It's a big multi-million-dollar business. We found out this week that Vianne Timmins apparently had very little oversight for decisions about $190 million in the non-operating funds. Isn't there a case to be made that, look, if you're going to be hiring a CEO who's going to be in charge of that kind of money and those kinds of decisions, you got to spend $100,000 to scour the world to find the best person?
First of all, I don't think MUN should be seen as a business, or the top position should be seen as a CEO. I think universities should be for the public good and to operate as such. But even if you look at the search for Timmins, I don't think paying all that money made any difference regarding who applied. I think that if all they did is put out an ad, I think it would have been the same end result. And like Vianne Timmins was interested in the position, it would have been the same end result either way.
Mm-hmm. When you saw the section about the furniture and the redecorating, did you feel I'm not sure vindication is the right word, but how did you feel? Because you must know, hey, that's the stuff I was trying to get people to care about.
Well, I feel vindication by the whole report is vindicated. With Dr. Timmins' office renovations. Yeah, I published all of that information on my website.
Ages ago.
Yeah, ages ago. But it was actually MSA Barry Patton, the education critic. He actually said that number in the House of Assembly, that he spent around $60,000 on office renovation. Yeah. And then I published all the information online. People would often say, like, administrative bloat is not that big of an issue overall at MUN, because, as you said, it's a huge institution. There's millions and hundreds of millions of dollars at play here. So if the president spent $60,000 on office renovation, that's just like nitpicking, And same with the other examples I've brought up with the executive search firms, and people would say, like this is small overall, but with the entire report now, we've found that it's like issued with administrative bloat is actually an issue across the entire institution, and especially with administrative compensation and benefits.
And also, I guess these things, there's a death of 1,000 cuts. These things start to add up, right?
They do add up, and the compensation for management position and administrative position is well above that of the comparison for in the public service. Do you know which universities the Auditor General compared it to?
No, and that's the problem.
So why didn't you ask the Auditor General that?
And that's an excellent question. And in hindsight, Mr. Barter, I wish I had. I don't think she would tell me. I think she was looking at some sort of average of what comparable universities are. But that's a good point. We don't know exactly what universities. And perhaps if I get another crack at her, I'll ask her that. Well, I think the Auditor General is trying to say, in terms of value for tax dollars, if you look at an ADM, who's usually a pretty smart, high-ranking person who knows their stuff, she's trying to find what she thinks is comparable work within the public purse. I think that's the point she's making. But coming back to the administrative ratio, you're a student. I should mention you're a political science student. You're almost going to graduate. I'm sure MUN is looking forward to the day you graduate, although I don't think you're going to stop doing what you're doing.
My lawyer actually joked with them and said, if you want to get rid of your Matt Barter problem, just give him the credits he needs.
Give him the degree, get rid of him, and not an honorary degree. Well, I'm glad you managed to keep your humor, because I know you're involved in a legal dispute with MUN, which we can come back to in some other future interview. But I want to ask you, because people tend to forget, you started to become a real pain in their neck because of tuition, right? And as you were protesting the increase in tuition, you started filing these access to information requests and finding these nuggets, these embarrassing nuggets, and I don't think they actually knew what to do about you. Do we have to think about this in terms of the tuition increase? Because I was thinking as a student, if I was reading the Auditor General's report, I'm thinking, so my tuition is going up to pay the highest administrative costs in the country?
Usually when the tuition increases, that tuition money will go to bettering the institution, whether that be into teaching, into making more church offerings, or into the infrastructure.
Yeah, fixing the buildings, getting profs.
Yeah. But the tuition it's not doing that at all. It said most of it is being spent for administrative positions, and MUN have actually created a number of new administrative positions at a time when they're not financially well off. Like they've created a vice president of external relations, well over $200,000. They increased the salary of the provost by $50,000. They created a vice president of equity, and her office is her and now like 4 or 5 employees. Like the number of administrative position and top administrative position that was created when Vianne Timmins did during her term, it was actually fairly significant at a time where they should be trying to shut down on funding at the top.
Right, and trying to actually streamline. Because you raise a good point. The vice president's salaries are one thing, but the vice presidents also have their own staff and other employees. Let me ask you just one last question to wind this down, because I know you keep filing these access to information requests. One of your most recent access requests is about panic buttons. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So I filed an ATIP request action for the number of panic buttons on campus and the locations and like the dates they were installed. And their response to that was we're denying access to the information. We're not releasing it due to security concerns. Mm-hmm. So then I filed another ATIP request, and I just requested the total number, and they did release that, and it was 350 total panic buttons that they've installed on campus.
Now, just to be clear, someone listening, so what's a panic button? What's it for?
Oh, it's for security purposes. They said a panic button is usually in an office somewhere where somebody can press if there's a situation where they feel unsafe, or if a conversation got really heated or something.
Okay, or an intruder.
Or an intruder.
Okay, so they hit the panic button and
so it's not like they hit a panic button and the floor opens up and somebody goes down too. No, it's not that.
Okay, so it rings an alarm with campus enforcement, and then campus enforcement presumably would know they need to go to this building, this classroom or office because they've hit a panic button. Did they say how much they were?
No, I filed another ATIP request for cost. I'm hoping they will release that.
Okay, to give you an idea. All right. Well, I'm sure that I'm sure they've been hitting the panic button a couple of times this week ever since the Auditor General's report came out.
The assets with such I've actually filed yesterday with regard to the bonuses and the special payment that was made by the Genesis Center and a teacher, because that was redacted from the Auditor General report. So I filed for that, and if the MUN refuses it, I'm going to appeal it to the commissioner, and if I still don't get it, if MUN still don't release it, then I'm going to take them to the Supreme Court.
All right. Well, you've obviously got your strategy building already. Now, I think those were redacted, because the entities, so that's the Works, SECOR, the daycare. There were bonuses that are alluded to in the report, but yeah, you're right. They're redacted. They were blacked out, so we don't know. All right. Well, listen, you have a certain gleam in your eye. I'm glad you're not filing access requests on me or anybody else that I know. Matt Barter, good to see you again. Thanks for coming in, and good luck with your graduation. You're finally going to graduate. I'm sure that MUN will be the very first to congratulate you. Thanks for coming in.
No problem. Thank you.
Matt Barter is a MUN political science student. He's protested tuition increases, shone a light on numerous access to information requests that he's filed over the years that looked into how Memorial spends its money.